Next up, look at this phone, all right? I want to talk about value. I want to talk about 2021. I want to talk about the smartphone marketplace. I want to talk about what you might be in for just over $400. The Realme GT 5G is now the world's cheapest Snapdragon 888 phone. Snapdragon 888, for those that have been calling it 875 like I did one time before it was officially 888, because the 8 is lucky, Will. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
You knew that the 8 was lucky?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Did you, when you bought your new house, did you make sure there was an 8 in the number?
Sure.
Did you actually?
Tons of 8s.
Did you actually?
No.
You can just make it up. Just put 8s on the window. They're like, hey, that's not your number, dude. Anyway, so 888 is the top tier, man. It's the best Snapdragon you can get. And to see it pop up in a device at $430 USD equivalent is kind of wild. And it's not even the fact that you're getting a flagship chip in there. How about the fact you're getting a 120 hertz OLED display and 65 watt fast charging, $430. Like, that's disruptive. It goes to show you what's happening elsewhere in the world. By the way, this is just launched in China. It's probably going to, some formulation, end up in India. Guy like you, in a place like this, you're never going to see something like this, Will. You're just going to be spending thousands of dollars for your smartphones, and that's the end of it, because they know that you'll pay it.
Yeah, that's the way it is here in the Western market.
Anyway, it is encouraging that within these competitive markets, you're like the type of stuff you're seeing being delivered at these price points. So this device, the spec sheet honestly, it feels like $1,000 spec sheet. However, the camera is likely a step back, but maybe the camera is not the most important thing to every buyer. I mean, it's kind of funny because we get into these performance showdowns and so much of it is centered around the camera now, assuming that everybody wants to be a professional photographer. No, maybe not. Maybe people want to play games. There's other types of buyers. And
the camera hump is less.
And the camera hump is less as a consequence. It does have a camera in it, obviously. Actually, the camera is from Sony. It's a 64 megapixel Sony IMX682, so mid-range camera module. That's probably something that helps get the price down. Some other specs here: 6.43-inch display, 2400 by 1080 Samsung OLED panel, the 888 SoC, as I mentioned, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, and a 4500 milliamp hour battery with 65 watt fast charging. In-display fingerprint under the screen, NFC, USB-C, and a headphone jack.
Wow. What a time, eh?
It's a good spec list. Yeah, I know. It's like a lot of things. If you had seen this spec list like a year, like if you just put another brand name on this spec list, you would actually assume to pay twice the price. Mm-hmm. Legitimately. Now, I haven't tried the camera. I don't know how poor it can really be at this price point. Also, the styling has to be to your taste. It has kind of like a racing stripe look to it, which, you know, maybe you like. It's some vibrant like colors as well.
Very speedy.
Very speedy. There will also be a higher tier version with 12 gigs of RAM and 256 storage. That'll be the equivalent of around $510 USD, still relatively affordable. Now, here's another thing to mention though. Some of these promotional tactics, they have an entry price for the initial launch of the device to get people like us talking about it. So we sit here and say, "Oh my God, how'd they do it?" And they would call it an introductory price, almost like a mini early bird Kickstarter type of thing.
Sure.
And then the price would elevate at a later date. And I know some fans in India don't like when this happens because they use the introductory price as like a sort of free marketing component.
Yes.
And then don't make enough units available at the introductory price. So I would say rewarding early adopters is cool, but maybe let people know exactly how many units you're talking about so they know the scope of the promo. Mm-hmm. So the price of these does go up at a later date, but look, not by much, by the way. It's going to go up to $448 and $525. So you're talking about, what did I say the price was? $430. So another $18 on the list price. Not an enormous amount of money, and still pretty attractive as far as I'm concerned, especially from the outside looking in this market where that spec sheet or anything close to it costs you, well, at least a couple more dollars.